Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. I'm here today. We have a special collaboration with T from Tori Hydra. I have a second, not second version, like a part two
A
uploaded.
continuance.
Yeah, a continuation over on her channel. So definitely check it out. Okay, so I have a fire out. You probably can't see it here. I had a friend message me the other day about fire scrying. And well, I'm not necessarily scrying, I'm listening to the fire element that I'm trying to connect to. And I'm getting like this feeling, it's a little different. I thought I knew what this was going to be. It's a little different. Stepping into this energy that feels a little bit like constriction. And then it also feels like being the one to constrict. So there's something here about control and power. Of course, the fire would speak about this. And there's this, and it's kind of interesting because there's like four words that I feel like humanity hates more than anything, whether it's on an individual level, a political level, a familial level, or even inside relationships. They hate four words, and anything that's adjacent to these four words, anything with the essence of these four words, are things that people absolutely get triggered by, and it's you can't control me. People hate hearing that. They absolutely hate hearing that. Anytime they come across a person where it's the person's doing their own thing, minding their own business, there's like this, blah. And that's kind of what this feels like. Either someone has run up against this kind of energy or someone is exhibiting this energy in their life, and it's just time to release it. It's time to acknowledge it and release it. So let's see what's going on here. I'm going to pull from the Wild Unknown Alchemy Guidebook from Kim Kranz. Okay, and I'm going to read from the book here, but I'm going to let T say a little bit of something from what she's seeing.
Yeah, it's actually interesting. I had written some notes down earlier today from what had come out, but just before I clicked onto this video, there was something about the outer. I do something very specifically before I sit down to record, and today I did it backwards on the outside. So there's something about the inside coming out. It also came out earlier of like prayer hands, open tips up. And I have this like symbol that if you see my videos, you'll see on my channel, but it's like a U that extends down, and it's my symbol for mirror or reversal. So there's something about the inside coming out, and then through that, it's new seeds sprouting, a new earth, a new me. I know a lot of people are kind of like wary of language like a new earth, and I'm also one of those people that are wary. But if we reframe it as down to the individual level and through the individual transformation, that's when the collective becomes inner to outer. So, so yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love that you have that transformation sort of energy in it because the image on this is this moth and the fire. So I'm going to read from her book because I really like what she has to say about the alchemical processes and how they transpose onto our lives. So this is a Sora Mystica, mystical sister, and it's Sacred Ally Anima Outreach. Just when you thought you could traverse the alchemical path by yourself, I'll hold this up too so people can see it. Sora Mystica appears. This card indicates a dear friend or sacred ally holds you in their heart at this very moment. With their support, you are able to do what you cannot do yourself. Between you exists an alchemical pact based on the ingredients of respect, honesty, and unconditional love. It's as if you've known each other for many lifetimes. You have shared many experiences from which you are always bonded. This archetype may come in any gender, age, or form. One distinct characteristic of Sora Mystica is that they practice the art of witnessing and listening. They have no need to fix, judge, or give advice. Presence is enough. When this card appears, tend to the flame of friendship. Be a mystical sister to another. This is kind of an interesting energy in context of what you're talking about and in context to that power and control, because it's almost as though there's something that is being transformed or released, and it's allowing either the individuals that someone attracts or the individual themselves to kind of release the need for power and control in order to bring about a new version of self. So I'm almost seeing these two gold plates as what you're talking about like the parting of a veil and something emerging from it, from this interior fire. So it's almost as though we have both the feminine and the masculine energy present inside this card. So I find that kind of interesting because it's almost like this protective system that seems to be loosening its grip in some way. Um,
It's funny because I normally like I'll do cards the night before and leave something on my desk, kind of like have the energy permeate. And that was the card that came through last night that I had onto my desk until like 20 minutes ago. And then I was like, I'm not going to leave it out. I'm going to start like fresh and just pull cards as I go. But I'm like, okay,
Yeah,
there's something about this, what you see inside you, what is inside your world. Like something came through a few months ago of you are the chosen one when you choose yourself. I think there's a lot of conflation of wanting to feel special and important and empowered. And that means something outside had to find you and had to
right,
choose
right.
you. And something came through earlier today. I was listening to a video of people talking about like AI and art and consciousness. And there's like this neuroscientist talking about, I don't understand why the body does things before the mind is able to do it. Like, I don't understand the process that can be physically happening neurologically inside the body for that to exist. And then what came through with that is because you're looking at a piece, you're looking at something under a microscope, but you're not looking within yourself. And then the two cards that came out with the flavor of the devil is Eight of Spires and Two of Stones. So Eight of Swords and Two of Pentacles. And for me, the Eight of Swords is about having faith. In traditional tarot, where she has her eyes blindfolded, it's always the answer is not going to be given to you directly. It's not for you to see. It's for you to have faith, knowing that what is behind you is your future should you choose to return.
Yeah.
And then I also had the Four of Wands, the Lord of Perfected Work, come out, which for me, the Four of Wands is the card that I have for like the 444 collective in connection with my channel, but it's the idea of a group forming. So potentially group inside yourself forming through.
Yeah. This is interesting too because it's almost like so the cards that I'm pulling for that, I have the Page of Swords, I have the Seven of Pentacles, which is about, or well, it's the Eight of Pentacles. I saw it as the Seven of Pentacles. So I'm going to say something about the Seven of Pentacles moving into the Eight. It's like the growing and then the work of harvesting. So in a lot of ways, because of that, the Eight of Pentacles can be like a karma card in some ways because karma means the work. And whenever we have the Eight of Pentacles, though, it's where the person is basically working through all the things that they've witnessed growing. So we have that idea of witnessing again and holding space for, but we have also that idea of something emerging that is a collective of something else. So it's like uh, understanding that like the way that we tend to live our lives and the way that we view things, because we view things very individually and because we tend to split things off into like their smallest bite-sized segments so that we can comprehend them, we really don't understand the complexity, and it's like a simple complexity. We're just making it complex in our idea of having to hold on to the individuation of like the totality of consciousness that actually flows through all of us. And if we understood that, we wouldn't have to basically misidentify with these ideas of power and control, or with, having to question, why does this aspect of me do this when this aspect of me is trying to do this? And it's like that disjointed, disharmonious element that pervades like all kinds of areas of our existence. It's on every level. It's not just interpersonal. It's not just within our understanding of our own bodies, but it's within our own emotional body, our own spiritual body, the way that we separate things rather than seeing them as a complete whole that's working together. We have somebody here that's learning, and they're learning about how to make something work in terms of a bigger system, in terms of maybe, if we brought it in, it could be in terms of working with others, or it could be how to make a certain aspect of life work. I think someone's also zooming out to kind of feel like, oh, it's not just about this one area of my life, it's the totality of my life and how I'm basically expressing that energy. It's kind of like when you see people focus on their energy body, but they don't have the awareness that the energy body is an expression of like your life and your beliefs and your emotions, right? The energy that we have out here is an expression of what's internal. That spiritual energy that creates you is the energy that comes from elsewhere. And we have a very strange paradigm taking place where it really conflates and confuses a lot of the energy dynamics that we experience as people, which is why we have such a hard time changing our energy. And I think that whoever this message is actually for inside the collective that her and I are tuning in today, it's like there's a big release that's taking place that's transforming things. And that release is like barriers and boundaries and All the things that maybe someone has misidentified as, they're starting to fly open so that someone can affect a major change inside of their life. I have this Seven of Cups. It's a very beautiful energy. It's super positive. Not that the previous was not positive. It's just that this seems very it's self-empowered in a lot of ways. It's like self-actualized. I have this Seven of Cups that's showing up, and this Seven of Cups. Whenever we have the Seven of Cups, it's like all the options. And in this one, it's not really speaking to me about being confused or confusion. It's kind of feeling like I have all the options set before me, and now I see the totality of things. It's like getting a bigger picture, but not even necessarily a bigger picture on the external. It's like a bigger picture on the self. And here it's like understanding the big cup, right? The grand cup, and kind of staring in it and understanding what I actually am.
Mhm. It's okay. A few things. So I have this Empath's Oracle deck, and this came out number 3, Realizing Empathy as Revolution, Evolution. And for me, this came through in this way of recognizing as empaths, sometimes we kind of like suck up the other people's stuff. And until we learn to differentiate what is ours to what is else, we think that everyone else's outer is our inner. And so it's actually taking the ability of differentiation and putting that into practice. It's no longer just a theory. I have the Star, Strength, and then the Queen of Cups. And that came through as your, I don't even want to use the word intuition because I feel that we use that and that has like its own balance, its own bounce. But the what you know through remembering, it could be past lives on earth, it could be elsewheres, it could be channeling into other more, and you're finally coming into balance, being able to hold that. It's not something that's actually taking you over anymore. And if people aren't familiar with it, there's something called internal family systems, which is like a therapy thing. And that's it's worth a Google, worth looking into. But the idea of just because there's this, and again, this devil card is sticking out into the chaos of a city and all of the noise and the loudness and all of this friction going on inside of us, just because something inside of you is complex and nuanced and deeply delved doesn't mean it's not something that's also peaceful and powerful and poignant. So learning how to be delving inside yourself, and again, the Four of Wands came out as the 4th card from this deck. So it's really doubling down on the system within you and learning how to bring that forward. And then there was something that I'd gotten earlier today, I'd written down when I was walking on my phone, that when I copied onto paper, something new came out. And it was trying to bypass the riddle of flame. And so I don't know if that would have to do with potentially like the flame that you have on there or the flame within us, but trying to get to an end result, not realizing there is no end.
Yeah, yeah. And that's interesting because I had been looking over here as you were talking, and one of the things that I kind of heard about it all was very specific. So it's like a kind of a specific aside that sometimes when we're struggling through things and when there's things about ourselves that we don't necessarily like or things that we want to change, there's a shame that creeps in, right? For a lot of people, there's a struggle with shame, and shame's one of those energies that it's probably the most damaging energy that I see to the energetic system. And once shame kind of enters into the picture, that behavior or that thing about yourself that you don't like, that is not the energy that's going to help it, right? That's the energy that kind of perpetuates it a little bit. And because in order to overcome it, it's like we have to be improving our energy body. We have to be improving our self-belief, our outlook, our emotions, and shame is anything but that. So if you're somebody that struggles with shame, if you can slowly learn to love yourself and replace the shame with love. So I do this and I don't like it, but I love that aspect of me. It doesn't mean you're making it okay. It means that you're acknowledging that that's part of your wholeness. And in order to truly embrace yourself, you have to embrace the things about yourself that you don't like as well. Again, it's not saying that it's okay. And when you're in that energy, as opposed to, man, I did it again. I suck. You know what I mean? Like that's a completely different vibe. And
Mm.
yourself isn't going to respond to that type of punishment from your conscious mind. So allow yourself kind of like the grace and the space to really love those parts of yourself that maybe you don't necessarily appreciate the most, because the reason why they're there is because of that lack of love. So if you can kind of love yourself through those spaces, you might find that the transition out of those spaces is a little bit easier.
Mm. As you started talking about shame, these two cards that were upside down came out, and it's the Ten of Wands and then the Knight of Cups. And then I was being reminded of your micro habit series on the High
Yeah.
Priestess here. But for a lot of people, it can be such a big movement, talking about now energy, how things physically move inside your body, in your life, in reality, all of that. And for a lot of people, going from shame to love is too hard. It's too
Yeah.
difficult.
Yeah.
And so learning to, before it's I hate myself to I love myself, witness yourself. You don't need to make any judgment on it. You can be a neutral witness. You can see your suffering, you can see your pain, and you don't even need to be at peace with it right away. You don't need to accept it, but you can acknowledge it. And I think a lot of core wounds that become lifelong pain comes from no one acknowledging what hurts. And
Yeah.
always, again, you're looking for this outside validation. You're looking for something to come and tell you what happened to you was wrong and shouldn't have happened and you deserve better. But again, you are the chosen one when you choose yourself. So treating the act of self-love as a micro habit and not a goal. So I find it helpful to look up like the vibration frequencies, and I could be
Yeah.
speaking out of
That's a
turn,
good
but
reading.
and like I did I forget his name now, but it was like the 30 keys to wealth.
Peter Amadeus.
Yes,
Yeah.
I did that in the fall, and he was talking about you can be down here in shame and you want to go to love, but that's like 12 steps.
Yeah.
So instead of trying to go all the way up, find out where it is that you are now, what resonates, and what is one above it. And
Yeah.
start speaking out loud how you can be embodying this next tier, this next step. And then you do that, however many weeks or days or steps. At a certain point, love is natural because you've arrived in love.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, there's this whole step of anger in there somewhere, because anger is kind of like the energy that starts to come out as we process certain things. And sometimes it's the sadness that comes out once we've processed the anger. So yeah, there's a whole process to that.
Mm. Yeah, to that anger, number 5 with this empath deck is alchemizing confusion into clarity. And so you can be mad. It doesn't mean that madness, anger, and rage needs to then be put outside of yourself and then projected onto the world, right? You can look inward, you can witness your own rage inside of yourself, and you can learn to alchemize that within so that it's not something that you're carrying around over and over and over, and it's not something that you're dumping on other people. But
Yeah.
this goes back to a new earth, a new me. It's not about the planet gets changed out and it's something new. It's the idea that there is this awakening on a collective level around the world, and it's happening on an individual basis. Yes. And so when you are learning to alchemize what is inside of you that is begging to be outside of you, that is begging for you to project it onto someone else, to yell at someone, to speak down to some waiter, you know what I mean? Learn to look at that and be like, if it's kind of like you're like, ooh, you're pissed off and you really want to say something to someone, that's when you should not text them. Like
Yeah,
when there's
absolutely.
something in you, when something is banging down the door to be let out, don't put it onto others, but also
Yeah.
don't put it onto yourself. Just learn to be present with it without judgment.
Yeah. One thing that
Yeah.
I find too is that when people take the idea of anger and they stop thinking that the anger is a dynamic with them and others, and they recognize that the anger is actually a personal warning system, right? Whether it's warning we just got triggered, or it's like, hey, I'm angry about this, pay attention. You need to pay attention to the situation a little bit more, right? Because a lot of people, they'll feel
Mhm.
anger about something, and they'll kind of brush it off and, that's okay. They don't know what they're doing and they'll make excuses. Well, that anger is like a warning system. And it doesn't mean anything about the other person. It rarely does. The other person is having their own experience. It's about you. Things can be not right for you, and it doesn't mean that the other person's like a mess up or like something's wrong with them. So anger is, I think we misinterpret anger quite a bit. And anger really is a tool for us to use to gauge our experience of our reality. It's not necessarily something to be used as a weapon against other people.
Mhm. Yeah. And then thinking about, I believe that everyone has the ability to tune in with their psychic senses. I think we have more than five,
Mhm.
but it's applying that to the five senses that everybody seems to agree on. When you smell something burning in your own house, you're not going to say, "Oh," and walk away. Like you're going to find out what is burning. You're going to look for it before
Right.
it erupts somewhere else, right? So triggers and anger and these things and all of this is your body. Yeah, as my incense bell. All of it is your body, brain, spirit, everything all together. Like, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
if you don't knock at the door, it's gonna blow it down like the little
Yeah.
piggies.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah.
like, yeah. And alchemizing it, sometimes just acknowledging it and, getting into the habit and normalizing, acknowledging our own anger and what it's actually saying to us, that does alchemize it. I know a lot of people struggle with anger. And if you are somebody that struggles with anger, ask yourself, like, do I try to suppress it, right? Do I try to control it? Is that what I'm trying to control in my life? Is myself, my anger, and how I show up to things? And it isn't about not controlling it and losing your shit on somebody. It's about, not suppressing it and acknowledging it for yourself so that you can actually now listen to it, right? Listening to your fire. So, because that's the dialogue that doesn't usually happen. It's, I have this emotion and now I'm going to react out of it, but that reaction doesn't give you the space to actually listen. And so, alchemizing your anger involves a lot of listening, sitting with yourself and listening to those spaces and listening to what that anger is actually telling you. Is it telling you that this person isn't right for you? Is it telling you that that reader isn't right for you, right? Is it telling you that, maybe right now is not the best time for you for this particular situation? Again, it doesn't mean that there's anything wrong externally. The point isn't to place the blame when you listen to your anger. The point is just to understand this wasn't good for me. And even things that are amazing can be not good for you. And when we start listening to our anger in that way, our self doesn't have a reason to keep slamming anger in our face.
Yeah, the last card that came through for me is the Six of Swords, the Lord of Earned Success.
Mhm.
And literally anyone who's seen any second video of mine over the past year is like, oh my God, the Seven of Swords is just like the Jack in the Box that like won't die. Um, oh, hi, lady.
Yeah,
Uh,
he had to come up here.
so And so for me, the Seven of Swords, I know, the story is going to the other side's camp to take so that what they have can't be used against you, can't be used to harm you, and that there can be levels of manipulation within that. I see the Seven of Swords as doing what you have to do to get through what it is that you're currently within. And so the Seven of Swords being kind of like a survival mode spirit state. And so for me, the Seven of Swords just kept coming up over and over and over. But over the past month, the Six of Swords started coming in.
Oh,
So with the six being this calm. Again, I know it's the swords, but like in traditional tarot, tying back to water, and it's all calm waters. And so having that like emotional regulation and a balanced nervous system. And what kept coming through on my channel is that we are being presented with the Six of Swords as a chance to redo how we choose to engage with our own Seven of Swords. So it no longer needs to be about survival and I'm only doing this because this is what I have to do and there's no other option. You're able to
yeah.
actually look around and be like, that's a really beautiful horizon. Maybe I don't feel the need to go and steal other people's swords. Maybe there is always a choice, even if both options suck, you know what I mean? But like maybe you're able to find like a third mysterious option. There's something else that's coming up because you have more of a capacity for awareness.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm at the end of the energy that I'm getting on this. How about you? Great.
Yeah, that was
Okay,
the
so we'll
cat
go
doing.
ahead and we'll continue on in a second part that'll be posted on T's channel. So again, that'll be linked down in the description box below. And thank you guys. If this resonated with you, feel free to hit the like button. Feel free to leave a comment. Until next time.